Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Hope you're all fit and well. Well, autumn arrived in a hurry, didn't it? This time last week, I was sat here in shorts. The back door was wide open and my dogs were sunning themselves in the garden. Today, I'm wearing both jeans and socks and long sleeves. The back door is firmly closed and the dogs look like a couple of Greggs sausage rolls because they're both wrapped up in blankets. I realise that you're all hardy outdoor types. For us office dwellers, this has been an almighty shock to the system, so you may have to bear with me if my teeth are chattering today. Anyway, it is Monday, which means a whole new show plus a whole new column over on our Demolition Demolition Insider website, should I say. Today's column is called "The Most Dangerous Phrase in the Demolition Business," and that phrase, in my opinion at least, is "We've always done it that way." I'm sure you can figure out precisely what the article is all about, but you can read it yourself using the link that I'm about to post in the chat, which I'm going to do right this when I can remember where I put it. I think it's that one. Yeah, there you go. And I'm going to say good morning to both Mick and Andy, who have just arrived. I will be pressing your buttons in the non-biblical sense in just a second. In actual fact, I'll tell you what, let me get it done now because I'll only forget otherwise. Let's see. There is Andy's good morning, and there is a mix, hopefully. So good morning to you, gents, and good morning everybody else that crept in while I wasn't paying attention. Just so you know, going back to the Demolition Insider, free subscriptions to the website will be closing quite soon. So if you register now, you get free access basically for life. Well, my life probably, as long as I keep writing it, you'll have free access. So be sure to hop over there now and hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a bean, well, at least it won't for now. It won't cost you a bean in the future if you sign up now. We'll only be doing paid subscriptions at some point in the future. You get the idea. Now, you can, of course, have your say on today's show in the usual way. Just type any comments or questions in the chat. But if you'd like to send us your voice, lend us your voice even, you can do so using a voicemail message, which we may or may not use in a future episode. You can do that using the link that I'm about to post in the chat, which looks like that. It is speakpipe.com/demolition news. Just leave us a message. It comes to me as an MP3 and I can play it on the show. Try to be nice, but if you can't be nice, I don't care. I have very thick skin. I also have a thick jumper on, so I should be okay. So yes, please do that. Now, without further ado, I'm going to roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. It is Monday, the 16th of October. Welcome to the House of Fun that is the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, we're off to the US to find out why an American customer loves his new Steelwrist. Yes, Gary, I said Steelwrist. We've got some truly epic scraper footage of an 18 million cubic yard muckshift from America. And we're going to bring you a chimney stack demolition from an entirely new perspective. Plus, as if that wasn't enough, our resident AI news anchor Demi Lition returns with not one but two news reports. The first featuring JCB and the second detailing a major acquisition by our friends over at Kinshofer. Got all that to come. But first, let's take a quick peer back through the mist of time to see what was happening on this day in history. Yeah, on this day in 1579, Francis Drake sighted land in the Philippines after crossing the Pacific Ocean on the Golden Hind. This one did amuse me, I have to say. On this day in 1690, the English army demanded the surrender of Quebec. The French governor responded, I'm sure he did it with a French accent, "I have no reply to make to your general other than from the mouths of my cannon and muskets." What a badass, eh? In 1847, Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre was published. In 1923, John Harwood patented the self-winding wristwatch. 1923. In 1946, 10 Nazi leaders were hanged as a result of the Nuremberg trials. In 1950, the first edition of C.S. Lewis's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was released in London. In 1968, don't remember seeing it in person, but I do remember this very well. In 1968, athletes Tommy Smith and John Carlos gave the Black Power salute as they collected their medals at the Mexico Olympics. In 1979, I remember this one rather better, the TV show Not the 9 O'Clock News debuted on BBC Two. In 1992, now, just to put this into some perspective, you are currently watching episode number 594 of The Breakfast Show. But on this day in 1992, David Letterman hosted his 1,700th show. And there was plenty more to come as well. And in 2004, a tiny little diminutive 17-year-old footballer quietly made his debut for FC Barcelona. That little player was none other than Lionel Messi. Now, before we get into the real meat of the show, let me quickly remind you of our question of the day. Yep, our resident quizmaster, Mr. Gary Muirhead, has come up with the goods again. His question today is simply this: what would you change about yourself? Now, physically speaking, I'd get my nose straightened. I broke it years ago, never got it attended to. If you look very closely, it goes off to one side. I'd get my teeth lined up properly after the whack on the head I had a few years ago. I'd quite like to get some of my hair back, but non-physically, I wish I sounded a bit less South London than I do. And I wish I was a bit more outgoing than I am now. Used to be, not so much anymore. But what about you? Let us have your thoughts in the chat, and we'll come back to that after the show. But first, we've actually got to do a show. Starting here. Now, as I mentioned, our question of the day, as is often the case, came from Mr. Gary Muirhead. If you've been here for any length of time, you'll know that Gary is something of a Steelwrist fan. He hardly ever mentions it, but he is a bit of a Steelwrist fan. So this film is for him.
Hi, my name's Robert E. Lee III. I'm with General Lee Enterprise. We're out here in Avila Beach, California, doing an Overx recompact on a main house pad site, guest house, barn dominium, and a road.
Who had a chance to get some stick time with the tilt rotator here, the Steelwrist. What do you think of it, man?
Oh man, we picked it up actually, I think last week on Friday from Corona, and brought it up here, got it off the trailer. I think that was Friday night, and Saturday morning I got to walk it up the mountain, and then I started back here on this rock piece. It is a pretty phenomenal tool. I've heard of them. I never actually got to use one. Not really intimidated at first, but once Mike showed me the controls, it was gangbusters. You can use it like a pick, like a ripper. I don't even, I have grading buckets. I have tilt grading buckets. So not only is it that, but also the rotation value in there. How did I work with one before kind of thing, and not really knowing.
Were you kind of surprised at the efficiency that it created for you?
Very surprised. Yeah. A lot surprised. Yeah, it's a really awesome, amazing tool, and we've been using it all over here, especially on this back wall cut, mixing material. Mike showed me how to use it to mix the material when you're you have some maybe drier and some wetter stuff, and you can kind of use it like a side shovel. Just really cool.
And obviously the end game is to increase your efficiency and make more money.
Absolutely.
And do you find this would be a handy tool in that endeavor?
Oh man, I didn't have to get out of the tractor to go look, and I just could flip the bucket around and just see if I could find the vein and chase the vein, and very efficient, and that obviously leads to production leads to your bottom line and your profit margin. So
Not sure that guy is as big a Steelwrist fan as our Gary, but he does seem to be enjoying his new toy. Now, lots and lots of comments coming through, but one I wanted to pick up on, which got nothing whatsoever to do with the show, which is why I probably picked up on it. Ken Hatcher, morning Ken, says he started watching Gold Rush on the weekend. Really good. I'm 12 years behind, though. I am currently watching Boston Legal, and I think that's been gone at least 10 years. I'm just about to start Series 5, which is the last of the series. But in Series 4, there is an episode called The Mighty Rogues. Some of the best acting I think I've seen probably since The Newsroom, and that really did take some beating. So go and have a look if you get the chance. Gary Muirhead. Morning, Gary. Steelwrist Earth Moving Efficiency, he says, creating the next advertising tagline for Steelwrist themselves. Ed Butler's with us as well. I know Ed put a message in our WhatsApp group saying, guess where I am? But then I came online. I don't know where you are. Did anyone figure it out? Where are you today? Graham Footy Williams, what a brilliant bit of kit. Excellent, he says, and good morning, Mark, from Mick Norton. Good morning to you as well. It's almost Demi time, so let's crack on, shall we?
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
She has been away on sabbatical. Sort of. But you'll be pleased to know that our resident AI news anchor, Miss Demi Lition, is back. In fact, she's recorded not one but two news reports for us today. I'm going to play you the second one a bit later in the show. But here she is with some big American news from JCB.
British construction equipment maker JCB has announced that it is set to build a new factory in North America that will create 1,500 new jobs over the next 5 years. The construction of the 67,000 square meter factory will begin early next year in San Antonio, Texas. The new facility will manufacture machines largely for customers in North America. The plant will be the second JCB factory in North America, where the company began manufacturing in Savannah, Georgia, in 2001. JCB North America already employs 1,000 people. Details of the specific products to be manufactured at the new plant will be announced at a later date. JCB CEO Graham McDonald said, "North America is integral to the growth and success of JCB's business in the future, and the time is now right for JCB to expand its manufacturing presence there." Texas is a vibrant and growing economy, and the state offers great advantages in terms of a central location, as well as good highway and port access. The city of San Antonio also has a well-established skills base, which makes it a very attractive place to set up a factory. JCB Chairman Lord Bamford said, "JCB has come a long way since selling its first machine to the U.S. market in 1964. This new investment is good news for our North American customers and is a fantastic platform on which JCB can build." JCB has 22 factories around the world, including 11 in the UK, and others in India, Brazil, and China. The company will mark its 80th anniversary in 2025.
Thanks for that, Demi. And we'll see you a bit later in the show. Just on the subject of Demi, a couple of things. Excuse me. I'm going to have look at what did Graham Footy Williams say. He said, "I thought she was away seeing Robocop." That may have been what her sabbatical was all about. And I had a message from Ken Hatcher on Friday afternoon to basically notify me about that story. We'd already got that video recorded by Demi by then, but thanks for the heads up, Ken. Always good to hear from the people out there, because you've got as many fingers in as many pies as I have, so always good to keep the information flowing. So keep it coming. Now, one of these. We make no secret of our love for scrapers here on this show. Not only do they come with a bit of nostalgia, they remain pretty much unbeatable, I would say, when it comes to major earth-moving projects. So if you've got 18 million cubic yards, yes, 18 million cubic yards of material to move, scrapers could well be the way forward. something very, very satisfying about a scraper train, isn't there? Now, I'm going to throw back to the chat very quickly. Demi Lition being all divisive today. I like the JCB content, says Mick Norton, but cannot abide the robotic delivery of Demi. I can only apologise. The way I see it, her robotic delivery is slightly better than my South London nonsense, but hey. Mick Something says, read your article, read the old ways. That's the column of today. Column of the day today. Need to say one thing, mate. Over the years, the demo game has adapted and will always do so. It's just old farts like you and I that cling to the old sayings, but they did work and have been adapted to the present day of work. Please let me know what you think. I can't argue with that. I am an old fart, but I do hear that an awful lot. We've always done it that way. Bearing in mind the way that the landscape of the industry has actually changed, is that actually viable anymore? And apparently my other half, while she's not complaining about her bad back, is in the chat talking about her question, the question of the day, which was, what would you change about yourself? Part of this sends a shiver up my spine. I would have had more children. We've already got 4, love. That's more than enough. Be a bit taller. Yeah, okay. 4'11". She's officially a pygmy, by the way, and eat everything without getting fat. I think we could all buy into that one. Yes, there you are. Let's crack on with the show. And despite the fact that Mick Norton is not a fan of Demi, she's on her way back in a second.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
In addition to making some damn fine attachments and the Knox tilt rotator, Kinshofer is also a highly acquisitive company. It's already snapped up brands like Demolition, Trevi Benny and Craic, and apparently it's not done yet. What's the latest, Demi?
In attachment news, Kinshofer and HGT have signed an agreement to merge. Under the terms of the agreement, Kinshofer has acquired a majority shareholding of HGT. For over 50 years, Kinshofer has been a leading manufacturer of tools for truck-mounted cranes, excavators, and skid steer loaders, consistently developing its product range, often by acquisition. Notable previous acquisitions include Liftall, Demolition, Auger Torque, Trevi Benny, and Craic. The acquisition of HGT is significant for Kinshofer in 2 ways. First, it strengthens the company's portfolio of material handling attachments and tools. Secondly, it improves Kinshofer's distribution channels in markets where HGT is very strong. The latest acquisition also further demonstrates its commitment to being a global leader in attachments to the crane and excavator industry. HGT was formed in 1983 and is focused on the development and marketing of material handling attachments, in particular for scrap processing and the handling of bulk materials for excavators and material handlers. Kinshofer President and CEO, Thomas Friedrich says, Kinshofer continues its strategy to provide the industry with a one-stop shop solution of outstandingly engineered products to increase efficiency and, more importantly, profitability for its customers. The acquisition of HGT was the next step in our approach to be a global industry leader with solid local presence.
Yeah, many thanks for that, Demi. A massive, massive congratulations to Thomas Friedrich and the Kinshofer team. Julia as well, if she's watching. Another landmark acquisition. Congratulations all round.
If you would like to buy a limited edition Break Fast show sticker, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/demolition news/extras.
Our final clip of the day features a chimney stack demolition, but it comes from pretty unusual angle. It also comes with a pretty cool soundtrack as well. So Jim Turner, pin your ears back. I hope you're going to like this. Here we go. Yeah, lovely job. I think you'll agree. Let's have a look. Going back through the chat. The K-Tech scraper combinations look very efficient. Get me nostalgic about time in the seat with Cat, Vickers, and Fowler prime movers and Toad onion box scrapers, says Mick Norton. Mick Saunders says, my ex was 5'2", positively lanky compared to my wife. I once told her she looked like an umbrella without the handle. Oh well, needless to say, I ended up on first name terms with the judges in the divorce courts. Well done. Jim Turner did like the tune, which is good news. Dan Cullen liked the tune as well. And Dan Cullen, yeah, onwards and upwards for Kinshofer. There is a company over in the States called Exodus Global, which now includes like shear core and the attack. There does seem to be a bit of a rationalization within the attachments field. As I say, in the States, shear core is now part of Exodus Global, but it's one of a number, probably half a dozen, possibly even more attachments, all under one roof. Kinshofer doing the same here in Europe. Be interesting to watch that over the coming months and years. Anybody's got any take on that? I'd love to hear from you. Just on that subject, I understand the rationale when it comes to manufacturers snapping up lots of companies. Where I've always had an issue, I think, is with dealers. You know, you get some dealers that represent or seem to represent about 100 different brands. I do wonder how much focus they can actually give to all of those brands. If you're representing 15 different types of attachments, how much focus are you giving to each individual one? Just my thoughts. Anybody else got any take on that? Love to hear from you, but I'm going to gripe about something else in a second. As you have probably gathered by now, I'm a lover of all things tech. I love a new piece of kit, a new piece of software, or a new social media platform. But today's gripe is actually about the downside of tech, or more specifically, when tech actively seeks to mock us. So, on Saturday, after our Saturday social show, I had an idea for an article I wanted to write. So I fired up my word processing app, or I tried to. But I received a notification that the software was updating. Now, under normal circumstances, that wouldn't be a problem. I tend to make notes over the course of days, sometimes weeks, sometimes even months before I actually sit down to write something. Not on this occasion. On this occasion, I'd been struck with inspiration. So, desperate to get my ideas down on paper, I grabbed my laptop to be told that also needed a software upgrade. I'd love to say that was an isolated incident, but it most certainly isn't. Now, with Mrs. Demolition News still suffering with a bad back, I was packed off to the supermarket on Sunday morning to buy a bunch of stuff, including the ingredients for our Sunday lunch, dinner, mid-afternoon meal, whatever you like to call it. I wrote everything down in the notes app on my phone and duly bought everything on the list before driving home. I pulled onto the drive and my phone pinged. It was a message from my wife saying, "Don't forget carrots." Well, I had forgotten carrots because A, they weren't on the list, and B, I'm not psychic. My other half swears blind that she sent me the text about 30 seconds after I left home, but my phone decided to deliver it just when it was too late. Anyway, I went out and got the carrots. That's my gripe of the day. I'd love to hear yours. What is it that grinds your gears, gets your goat generally, butters your parsnips? The daily gripe therapy session will return very, very soon, I would have thought. Let's have a look who's just popped up in the chat. Paul Deegan's with us. Good morning, Paul. Thank you very much indeed for joining us over on Facebook. Let's have a look. Dan Cullen says, Ken Hatcher knows all about updates. His phone seems to update regularly. Yeah, he's very kindly notifies, I say kindly, almost obsessively lets everybody know when there is a new iOS update. I tend to wait for him before I actually update. He's like an extension of Apple. Paul Deegan is waiting for beams of light. Possibly. I doubt it. But good morning, Paul. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And there he is saying good morning back. See how this works? Seamless, right? Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around, please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. But if you do have the time and the inclination, stick around because we'll be back with the Craic. Back with the Craic. Don't know, I've never thought of saying that before. Immediately after this final word from our key show sponsor, the fine folks at MB Crusher. Good morning, one and all. Before I get into stuff, I'd like to get your opinion on something. You know, we've got a show on Wednesday all about electric equipment. Well, we've now got the go-ahead on our film of the top-down way system that we filmed over in Milan. What was it, 2 weeks ago? The video is just under 11 minutes long, I think it is. And I want to premiere it. I really want... Fred's done a great job on it, as he generally does. It does look very, very nice indeed. So rather than just throwing it out there and what have you, I thought we'd try and premiere it and do a bit of a watch-along. What day this week, apart from Wednesday, suits you best? Do you want to do it tomorrow night? Do you want it Thursday night? Or just Friday night? So let me know, and we'll schedule it accordingly. Now, let me go back to the chat. That was the last one to come in. I'll go back to the beginning in a minute. Love that video, the chimney blow down. Great angle to see the pressure wave coming out of the top. Yeah, I just love things like that. Graham Footy Williams says on Wednesday, can't do Wednesday because we've got our all electric show on Wednesday, which is your birthday, Graham, if I remember, memory serves me correctly. Now, back to the very beginning. Dan Cullen, who has started his new job today. Morning, Dan, and good luck with the new job. How's it going? I'm fairly sure I saw somewhere in the WhatsApp group that you're actually with Coordinate Demolition. The Crooks family, fine bunch of lads they are as well. If you see William or Oliver, please give them my regards. Great company. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, guys. Says Gary Muirhead, provider of today's inspiration for the Steelwrist video, but more importantly, provider of today's question of the day. Good morning, Gary. Ken Hatcher is here as well. Morning, Ken. Any new updates on the iOS coming down the line that we need to be aware of? Please keep us posted. There's Dan Cullen. Happy Monday. It is indeed. It does feel like a happy Monday, actually. Cold. Was cold. I was downstairs this morning at 5:30, and yeah, it was before the heating kicked in. It was bloody chilly, I have to say. Maybe I'll get used to it in the coming days. Chris Hall, good morning, people. Monday strikes again. Yeah, as regular as clockwork. Just when you've got chilled out and relaxed into a weekend, along comes Monday to spoil the party. Glenn Johnston's here as well. Morning, Glenn. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Mick Saunders is here. Was a frost at 4:45. We didn't have a frost here. Well, I mean, I was about 45 minutes behind you, but I didn't see a frost today, but I'm sure they're coming. There's Andy Darvell. Good morning, lords, ladies and gentlemen. I think you overestimate the standing of our audience, but thank you very much indeed for that, Andy. There is my column for today, the most dangerous phrase in the demolition business, and that phrase is, we've always done it that way. And I know Mick's take on it, which we'll come to in a bit later on, but I do wonder just how much, and I mean in all aspects of the demolition industry. I'm talking about from a contractor level, from an operator level, from a trade body level, from a health and safety level. We've always done it that way. But is that necessary? If you think about, even before my time, and I've been writing about this stuff for 35 odd years now, but you think about how the industry used to look. It was not as heavily regulated. We weren't having to worry about things like sustainability and so on down the line. We weren't under such intense scrutiny. So yes, I think the founding principles of demolition and construction, but the founding principles of demolition from the 50s, 60s, 70s, absolutely fine. I'm sure fundamentally sound. But we're in a different world now, a very different world. And that was basically the notion behind the article. Go and take a look. Let me know what you think. And just on that subject, if you do go over there, use that link. The free subscription, and if you sign up free, it's free for life. But if you sign up now, you get it free for life, because in the not too distant future, we're going to be shutting it down and making it a paid only. But as I say, even when we go paid only, if you subscribe to the free, you'll still get it free. I think that makes sense, but if not, just please ask me the question. Mark Whiting's here as well. Morning, Mark. Good of you to join us. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Now, isn't this an open-ended question? This was from Gary Muirhead. What would you change about yourself? Pretty much everything, I'm thinking. As I say, straighten the nose, sort out the teeth, put some hair back, make me a bit more outgoing. I used to be. I used to be so, I mean, proper, mainly because I was drinking at the time, used to be proper life and soul of the party. You know, Mark's here, let's get the party started. And the older I've got, the less sociable I've got, to the point now where my answer is, if my other half says, should we do a thing? My default answer now is no. I'd rather not. Don't know where that came from, but there you are. Let's have a look. Jim Turner says, good morning, Jim. Glad you enjoyed the tune a bit later on. There is good Gary saying, good morning, Ruth Anthony. Hope your back is feeling better today. It's mending slowly but surely. My son's actually got, not Fred, the elder one, Ollie, he's got one of these back massages, and we used it on Ruth on Saturday night, and that seemed to have eased it a bit. Used it again yesterday, that eased it a bit more. Today, she's largely upright, let's put it like that. See, I think my wife would agree with that. Ken Hatcher says if he could change one thing about himself, it would be a new back. As I say, I think my wife would say exactly the same. Question of the day, my teeth or lack of, my back and all that has started to ache. Yeah, as I say, I won't bore you with it, but back in 2016, I got a brick in the face, and it basically it shattered my eye socket, but it also broke the roof of my mouth and knocked my jaw out of line. But I lost 5 teeth at the back, and as a result of those 5 coming out, everything else has kind of just gone off in its own direction. Could do with getting that sorted out at some point. Gary Muirhead, thank you. Still off work, but it's getting better. Yes, it's getting better all the time. Seems to get better between meals. I go and fix a meal, and she's, I feel fine, and then the next meal rolls around. My back. She's going to stab me when I leave here. Didn't start as yet, as a hose waiting to repair. That's Dan Cullen. New job waiting to kick off. Don't you love hoses, eh? Don't you just... Hydraulics. I mean, when you think about the ingenuity of hydraulics, what a fantastic invention. I mean, absolutely mind-blowing invention. But man alive, is there anything more frustrating than a burst hose? I can't think of many. Let's have a look. Mick Saunders says, I've frozen up. Don't blame the weather. I am broadcasting all guns blazing. We're literally broadcasting in 4K at the moment, so it shouldn't be a problem, but what the hell. Question of the day. Chris Ford says he would like to have the ability to do the things I could do 30 years ago. Yeah, where would that put me? That would put me at 28. I was just slightly past my prime at 28. I was probably at my prime at about 25, I would guess. But yeah, the ability to drink would be nice. The ability to eat without getting fat, that would all be good. Tom Whiting's here as well. Morning, Tom. Over on the YouTubes. Good morning and welcome. Let's have a look. Graham Footy Williams has joined us as well. Ken Hatcher says he started watching Gold Rush. I can honestly say I have now seen at Con Expo, I've seen the machine, the Volvo machine, the gold machine. I've seen it twice. I've seen members of the cast. Didn't get to meet them because I've never seen an episode, and I have no interest, understanding of the show whatsoever. It's literally passed me by. That being said, I think I watched The Sopranos about 10 years after that ended, and as I've already said, I'm currently watching Boston Legal, mainly because I'm a huge James Spader fan, and it is really, really good. Very funny, sometimes quite poignant. William Shatner is magnificent in it. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth a watch. And if you can find the episode from Series 4 called The Mighty Rogues, James Spader's performance in that, Oscar-worthy. Absolutely fantastic. Tom Whiting says, nice setup. Let's go back to our friend in California with his brand new Steelwrist. Yeah, he did seem to be a fan, didn't he? Loved his voice as well. Gravelly voice. Love my Steelwrist. I don't know what the hell that accent was. I wish there was more NHS dentists in Devon. Apparently there's none at all, says Graham. Is there not? There must be. Surely there must. Question of the day. Andy Darvell says, I would stop worrying about what might or might not happen and just be brave and give it a go. Yeah, And again, I think that's one of those things that comes with. I mean, Andy's a young guy, but I think that's one of those things that when you start to have responsibilities, you know, I remember going home to my father when I'd been offered my first journalistic job. I was already working for a publishing company, and I'd been offered the chance to be a junior reporter, complete with all the training and everything that went with it. And I went home absolutely chuffed as nuts and said to my dad, I'm going to be a journalist. And my dad, being of that type and of that generation, I guess, oh mate, you know, stick to what you know. Don't make any rash decisions. And as I say, I was probably, 22? I just went, stop that. I'm going to give it a go. If I do it and I'm rubbish and I fail, I'll go and do something else. 22 is not a problem. And yet now I've got wife and kids and the mortgage and all the bills and everything else. You start to think, is that a good idea? I say that as a person that decided to ditch magazines in his 50s and start a live stream, but that was forced on me. That wasn't through choice. There is Gary Muirhead, obviously enjoying the Steelwrist action this morning. Earth-moving efficiency. It absolutely is. And I know I say it every time we feature a tilt rotator of any description. It still beggars belief to me that there are people out there that, oh, no, you're not a proper operator if you're using one of those. What the hell? Ed Butler is with us as well. Good morning, Ed. I hope you're fit and well, my friend. Glad to see Steve Williamson actually asking questions over in the WhatsApp group over the weekend, which was nice to see. He's emerging from his enforced sabbatical away from social media. Good to have him back. What a brilliant bit of kit. Excellent, says Graham. That is the Steelwrist again. Good morning, Mark. There's Mick Norton. And yes, there was a photograph. I probably should have guessed this. It was a photograph that Ed Butler put in our WhatsApp group. Lots of Gabelco machines off in the distance. And he said, where am I? That's where he is. He's at Molson's down in Avonmouth. They had an open day down there recently. I didn't go, but they did have an open day. Yes, Demi Lition is back. Not universally well received. I thought she was away seeing RoboCop. Yeah, she could well be. I actually had a conversation with a guy on Instagram the other day. It was on Friday, actually, because we released the vertical version of the Kinshofer news on Friday of last week. And somebody came through and said, that lady looks really strange, almost like AI. And I had to go back and say, it's not almost like AI. That actually is AI. And then he then came back and he said, that's amazing. So he'd seen something was slightly off, but when I told him it was actually AI, it was, wow, that really is impressive. Gary Muirhead. See, stress seems to be a thing around these parts. Question of the day. I wish I was more laid back and didn't get stressed out about the smallest things. It's, as I say, I do think it is partly an age thing. I think you do start to worry that little bit more. And even things like, I remember the first time I remember getting this feeling. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I was on a journalist chat room on 9/11, and somebody came on and said a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. And I used to work with a big TV over to one side of me, so I flicked the TV on, and I was expecting to see, like a microlight or a little, twin prop plane stuck out the side of the World Trade Center. Obviously, by the time I got there, there was this bloody great hole, smoke billowing from it. And then I was watching live when the second plane hit, and the Sky reporter at the time, I think I was watching Sky anyway, the Sky reporter said something along the lines of, that's another plane. This cannot be a coincidence. I remember thinking, no, this is, quite clearly an orchestrated attack. And at that point, it was, despite the fact that this was thousands of miles away, I wanted to go and pick up my children from school, huddle them together and to protect them. And I don't remember ever feeling that. Obviously, you watch your kids when they're crossing the road or going off on a school trip or whatever it might be. But that was the first time I thought I need to gather them together. And that's something that's never left me. And it's exactly the same now, when you're watching what's happening over in Israel and Palestine, Gaza Strip. It's thousands of miles away. I am neither Muslim nor Jewish. It shouldn't matter to me. But I want to get my kids and my grandkids huddled around to make them safe, and I think that comes with age. Mick Norton says, I like the JCB content, but cannot abide the robotic delivery by Demi. Thankfully, she won't take that personally. There's Mick Silver saying, read your article, read the old ways. Need to say one thing, mate. Over the years, the demo game has adapted. And I do say that. There is a piece in the article where I actually say, I don't believe them to be Luddites. In fact, I believe Demolition to be completely the opposite of that. They do actually innovate and change their ways along the way, but there is still that we've always done it that way. And it's not even just the actual fundamentals of Demolition. I can think of two off the top of my head. If I send these senior people in a Demolition business an email, I know that email is received by a PA or a secretary and is printed off and placed on the desk of the person I've sent it to. It's not what you'd call modern, is it? Not what you call flexible either. There you are. My other half, despite the fact that we've got 4 children, 3 grandchildren, she would have liked more. Can you imagine what I'd look like if I had even more than 4 children? I'd be sat here as a skeleton. Speaking of skeletons, random. Speaking of skeletons, it's going to be Halloween very soon. So I shall be resurrecting our what I still believe to be the world's first and possibly only Demolition horror story, The Girl in the Green Coat. We're resurrecting that. I'm thinking about trying to get it remastered just to improve the sound quality. I'll see how that pans out. But watch this space. Nice bit of kit there. That's the scrapers. Dan Carlin says few dollars worth. Yeah, absolutely. No idea how much that would have cost. Those cats look an awesome tractor. They most certainly do. Ed Butler says, I'm with Ruth. Eat everything and not get fat. And I used to be able to do that. Back when I was playing football a lot. I mean, literally, if it moved, I'd eat it. I never gained an ounce. And then age catches up. Jim Turner says, if I won the lottery, a cat 666 is on the wish list. I've got a funny feeling yours would be quite a big wish list, Jim. The K-Tech scraper combinations look very efficient, getting me nostalgic about time in the seat with Cat, Vickers and Fowler prime movers and Toad onion box scrapers, says Mick Norton. Yep. Let's have a look. Mick Saunders, no, we've done that one. Let's have a look. Dan Cullen, onwards and upwards for Kinshofer. Yep. Nothing but admiration. And just as a small aside, not that this matters at all, Thomas Friedrich, who runs the whole Kinshofer shebang, what a lovely fella. Ed, tell him he's a lovely fella. He really is. Now that's a tune. That was for the chimney coming down, and I think Jim Turner liked it as well, which is good news. Yes, Ken Hatcher does most certainly know his updates. Let's have a look. Dan Cullen says, too many updates and your old Apple phone is defunct. Not good for forcing people to spend money they don't have. Yeah, funnily enough, my father-in-law is about to update his Kindle because he's had his Kindle for quite some time. Takes it with him everywhere. I mean, he's an absolute dedicated Kindle fan, but it's now so old that it won't update and receive new books anymore. So he's going to update that. I think that may be his Christmas present this year. Phil, I'm glad you're not watching because you'd have heard then. Thursday night for me, no dance or beer that night, says Chris Ford. I'll bear that in mind. The CEO at Kinshofer, Thomas Friedrich, is... And this I didn't see this. CEO at Kinshofer, Thomas Friedrich, is a great man. Hell of a nice fellow. Takes huge pride in his products. He absolutely does. I was, I've seen him since, but I was in Verona at the Samota show, and I was walking along vlogging. So I had my phone on a selfie stick, and I was walking along vlogging, and I saw out the corner of my eye this guy sort of waving at me, and it was Thomas Friedrich, and he didn't want to interrupt me, but yeah, we had a good old chat, and he really is a smashing fella. You missed Sam out of Carwarden. Did I? Sam, sorry. Obviously, William is the father and the boss. Ollie and Sam. Sam, if I missed you, I don't know how that happened. My apologies. Let's have a look. Jim Turner says, question of the day. Apart from the standard answer of a few more inches, I'd go for a better right knee and the ability to spell. Yeah. Ruth, try a backtrack inversion machine. I had a herniated disc and the backtrack sorted me out. I'll send Mark a pic of one. Does this mean I've got to hang her upside down from the door frame? Again, don't go there. Don't talk about teeth. I need another appointment. Can't get one today, says Footy. Best time of the year. Crisp morning and sunshine. Not too hot to work. Just need the S word. Peter McKenna says, I've missed the shit show again. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all fine and dandy. How on earth do you miss it? Surely you must have an internal body clock now that says it's 10 o'clock. That pillar could be chatting by now. Anybody want a cold? Free to a good home? Just reach the yellow and green snot stage. Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely. Let's all pop round and snog Chris. That sounds absolutely gorgeous. Question A. I know my cynicism can be a bit much at times. Maybe I should inject a bit more optimism. Yeah, but again, it goes with advancing years, I think. I do tend to take a very cynical view of pretty much everything now, and that never used to be the case. If it's anything like I just got over, you can stick it where the sun don't shine, Chris, says Big Saunders. I'm still in the throes of a severe chest infection, says Peter McKenna. Green is the colour of my sputum, I feel. I really wish we hadn't gone down this alley, but thank you, guys. Hello, Ruth and Diamond Anthony. Hope you're well, says Peter McKenna. That's going to make her morning. Must go, guys. Speak soon. Take care, Dan. Enjoy your new job, mate. Give my best to Sam and Ollie and William. Hope you have a good day. Peter McKenna. I'm sure that's some sort of emoji, but I can't see it. Question of the day. Good health. It's crap. Living severe conditions is disabling in itself. I realise your plight is way better than way worse than my wife's. But having her with a bad back for a couple of days. I've got a mate, a guy called Steve Padmore, Demolition guy, smashing fella, love it to death, and he suffers from fibromyalgia. I don't really fully understand what fibromyalgia is, but basically, pretty much everything hurts all the time. That's more or less the way fibromyalgia works, and it comes and goes. And he said to me the other day, or he said on Twitter actually the other day, you get to the point where you forget what it's like to feel well. And I think my other half is suffering from that. I mean, she's had the bad back now for a week and has literally lost sight of what it feels like to be able to get in and out of a chair unaided and to be able to sleep flat on her back or flat on her front. Yeah, absolutely bloody horrible. But she's on the mend. Miss the show when the wife is here. Can't understand why I watch. Okay, well, I tell you what, let's throw this out there. Mrs. McKenna, how could we improve this show to make it better for you? Never mind Peter, he pitches up when he can, but could we make the show better for you? Could we feature something that would make you tune in? I wonder. I do wonder. Right, I think that's going to pretty much do us. Oh no, there's another thing there. McDonald's on the other laptop looking for the thermals. Bloody hell, what a cost to keep the dangly bits. Bowel blockage could be the back issue for the wife boss. I'm afraid to ask, to be perfectly honest with you. Fibromyalgia is a horrendous condition. My pain is similar to what they suffer. Life is cruel. Yeah, can you imagine? I remember a quote from... Remember the sprinter, Linford Christie? Linford Christie, who... I think he won an Olympic gold medal. I can't actually remember, but he was certainly our best sprinter for many, many years. And when he retired, he was interviewed on the TV, and they said, what's the best thing about retirement? And he said, waking up without pain. because he had basically pushed his body to the absolute limit for, by that point, the best part of about 20 years, and was literally in pain every single hour of every single day. I can't imagine what that's like. She's now at work, so I can watch now. Okay, well, poll Mrs. McKenna tonight. How could I improve the Breakfast Show enough that she would want to tune in? I get it now. It's not good. I get it now and then. Not good. Totally crippling. Yeah, I bet it is. Mick Norton, reading the Israeli Defense Forces Cat D9R dozer weighs a total of 65 tons, including 17 tons of armor protection. What a beast. Yeah, absolutely. Just a trite to say it, but just what a terrible set of circumstances that you need a machine of that type at this time. I don't fall down on either side. The Hamas attack obviously is a disgrace and everything else. Does retribution actually make it any better? I don't believe so. As I say, I have no political or religious leanings in either direction. My thoughts, as with all of these things, whenever you see it, is your thoughts go to the children. Innocent children caught up in the middle of all of that. And why are we? I don't just mean the Brits, because I know the Americans are the same, and I think the Dutch and the French are doing the same. Why are we so quick to jump on the bandwagon with our pro-Palestine and pro-Israeli protests in London and Paris and Amsterdam? And just makes no sense to me. Gotta go, guys. Have a great day. Andy, you have a good day as well, my friend. Mick Norton, they developed the cat after an idea from one fella, did they? Do we know who he is? Wasn't you, Mick, was it? But yeah, okay. Everybody, go and have a fantastic day. I'm going to go and do something more useful, which is probably going to be drinking tea and keeping warm, I would guess. I'll be back here tomorrow. There will be no show on Friday, by the way. Just a very quick heads up. I will tell you more about that, but I've got to take the day off on Friday. I've got things to do and people to see, so there will be no show on Friday. But you'll still get the same number of shows, because obviously we're here tomorrow, we're here twice on Wednesday, and we're here on Thursday as well, but no show on Friday. So until tomorrow, everybody, go and have a fantastic day. Keep warm, keep safe. I'll see you all very soon. All the best.